Next on Worcester News tonight, how the government shutdown is affecting SNAP recipients and what is happening to make sure food will be on their tables next month. Plus, a multi-million-dollar state grant aims to help area manufacturers and place more people into good-paying jobs. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. Sunny and calm today, but the weather department is tracking two different storms in the coming days. Here is Tim Kelly with a first look at the forecast.
Kind of quiet around here, so we're watching the West Coast, a series of storms with rain and snow moving from California to Las Vegas. There's another one in Idaho. Those are going to get in here probably Thursday night around midnight. Meantime, a weak front right over Montreal did spread clouds in here this afternoon, and we did make it to just about freezing today. We're going to be even a little bit less cold tomorrow. Falling back through the 20s now. These clouds are fairly thin. The wind is fairly light, so we do have a hard freeze and some frost outside again tonight. Nice view of the moon this evening. Temperature kind of holds around 23, but lower elevations with an inversion can be a little warmer. You see some clouds going by Cape Cod tomorrow. There's a front in Vermont, but here we are at lunchtime, right at freezing. At the lower elevations, we're going to get close to 40 tomorrow. There could be a late day snow flurry. That's new cold air that comes in tomorrow night. Thursday's cold. Friday starts off snowy, and there's another snow and rain mix for Sunday in the 10-day in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Tim. The Worcester County Food Bank talks strategy with other organizations around Massachusetts this week. They discussed the potential impacts of the partial government shutdown. What we're learning today, a federal agency is moving to make sure people who depend on SNAP benefits will be taken care of for next month. Our Roslyn Flaherty joins us now with the details. Roslyn?
Olivia, SNAP recipients in Massachusetts will receive their February benefits early because the agency says the future is uncertain.
Day 25 of the partial government shutdown has some federal agencies thinking ahead. The Department of Transitional Assistance will issue SNAP benefits for February in the next few days, since future funding is uncertain.
The funding is available now. The people are working in the offices who can do this work, and they say, let's get ahead of it.
Jean McMurray is the executive director of the Worcester County Food Bank. She says the food bank is not seeing any impact right now, but they are monitoring the situation since 1/3 of the food they distribute comes from the USDA.
We are going to be thinking about what options we have, what contingency plans that we can make.
Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito says the shutdown is troubling and challenging.
We're hearing from a number of employees who are furloughed or contracted for in terms of the services they provide, and some of them are wondering what will happen when their paychecks stop, and that's happening in some places already.
She says Washington needs to find common ground.
For us in Massachusetts, we find a way to collaborate, find common ground. You don't always agree, but if you can find a place of resolution, then you're doing your job for the people.
Meanwhile, McMurray says although it's a stressful time, she doesn't want the more than 7,000 Massachusetts residents who benefit from SNAP to panic.
Lots of folks that receive SNAP benefits also go to food pantries, so we want them to know you have your SNAP benefit.
The DTA will be issuing benefits January 17th through the 20th. They will not be issuing benefits again in February. Roslyn Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
And the impact of the partial government shutdown now in its 25th day. At two of the country's busiest airports, security checkpoints are closed as more and more TSA agents working without pay call out sick. Air traffic controllers also working without pay are now demanding a paycheck, but it's not just the airports feeling the pressure. The FDA ordered hundreds of inspectors back on the job with no pay to continue food inspections. A Spencer man will be tried for murder. He spent years in a state hospital since he was deemed mentally incompetent to stand trial. Bridgewater State Hospital recently found 44-year-old Jason Masiello competent. He's accused of slashing his 88-year-old stepfather's throat, wrapping the body in a plastic bag, and placing it under their Spencer home. During a 2013 competency hearing, a forensic psychologist said Masiello was suffering from either a delusional disorder or schizophrenia, but it was possible he would be restored to competency with medication. His case was continued to March 1st. Police officers can detect drunk driving with alcohol levels and field sobriety tests, but finding out if someone is operating under the influence of marijuana isn't easy. Monday, the state's highest court ruled drivers can now be arrested on drug driving charges based solely on a police officer's observations. While the drug is legal in the state, Worcester Police Chief Michael Shaw says there are new concerns about public safety in driving, and this ruling is a step in the right direction.
It's finally good to see that in writing somewhere to give us some direction. Like I say, it's a step in the right direction. We still have a long ways to go with this topic because it's so new and it's growing so fast in the state that, we have our work cut out for us, but it's good to see this at least going in the right direction for us.
And according to the Supreme Judicial Court, if based on officers' observations, there are clear signs of impairment to the driver and the car smells like marijuana, they have the right to place you under arrest. A new federal program aims to help combat drug addiction by helping healthcare clinicians pay for their education, and it's being put into action at centers in the Worcester area. The Substance Use Disorder Loan Forgiveness Program offers up to $75,000 in loan repayment in exchange for 3 years of work treating drug addiction in an underserved area. Spectrum Health Systems Treatment Centers in Worcester is one of the organizations offering the incentive to its employees. According to Worcester Police, there were 1,108 overdoses in 2018, which is up from the previous year. Spectrum Health's Vice President of Clinical Services says the benefit will help them recruit and keep the positions they need.
It's very, very challenging work. So there's not a lot of people kind of beating down our doors to do this really challenging work. But it's also really rewarding. But you don't really know that until you start working in the field. So anything that we can do to encourage people to go into and stay in this field and work in addiction treatment, I think is going to be extremely helpful.
And the period to apply for this program ends February 21st. An advanced manufacturing training initiative is set to help more workers in the field. New funding for Quinsigamond Community College in Worcester will help its technology labs give students the tools they need to learn new skills. Our Chandler Walsh joins us live now from QCC with more. Chandler?
Olivia, the Baker-Polito administration says there are plenty of jobs available in the advanced marketing field, but there aren't enough workers with the skills needed to take them. It's why the state is providing funding for places like Quinsigamond Community College, where we are now, to help with the skills gap. Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito tries her hand at using a robotic arm. It was made by students at Quinsigamond Community College in their technology labs.
They're getting skills in electronics, they're getting skills in robotics, they're getting skills in fixing equipment, but also how to program the equipment.
The college is one of 140 organizations and institutions who will benefit from state funding announced Tuesday. The state is providing $2.5 million for advanced manufacturing training. The money will be used to connect unemployed and underemployed people with manufacturing jobs.
It is all about having talent and pipeline of skilled workers that can attach to these jobs.
The state says the grants will fill the skills gap between jobs and applicants. Manufacturing makes up 10% of the state's economy.
These are really good paying jobs, really meaningful jobs to grow the manufacturing economy in Massachusetts.
Kinefac Corporation in Worcester says it can be difficult replacing employees who've retired, and the funding will help.
There are good jobs at all levels of manufacturing, at really good wages and upward mobility. Anything we can do to attract more people is great, but then to also give them the skills to succeed in the industry, that's a winning combination.
QCC is one place people will be trained for these jobs. President Luis Pedraja says students learn skills in areas like robotics, lasers, and computers.
We're trying to teach our students and train them for the works of and the workforce and the profession of tomorrow. I think that's critical for the future of the Commonwealth.
And the $2.5 million in grants will train about 700 more people for an advanced manufacturing job. Live at Quinsigamond Community College, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A proposal for sex education in the Worcester Public Schools is changing. Some felt the last plan was too inappropriate for certain ages. The new one, set to go before the school committee this week, covers more topics than just sex. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now with the details. Brittany.
Olivia, the Michigan model offers a more in-depth curriculum than the previous proposal. It includes a variety of topics from sex education to nutrition, drugs, and alcohol. The Worcester Public Schools are changing their proposal for sex education. The administration will present the Michigan model for health at this week's school committee meeting.
It really should not be taught as a separate unit. It should be taught in conjunction with kids learning about all the other parts about health.
A youth survey conducted at the schools revealed an increase in STDs and teen pregnancy in recent years. Superintendent Maureen Beninda says the program will help reverse those numbers.
We want to make sure that our children stay safe and that they live long, healthy lives. So I think it's important that we provide information.
School committee member John Monfredo was not a fan of the previous proposal. He says it was inappropriate for younger students, and the Michigan model includes sex education along with personal hygiene, drugs and alcohol, and healthy relationships.
It dealt with things that were not appropriate for a grade 6 child, playing with condoms as part of the process. The Michigan model, there is no sex education in grade 6. Now, grade 7 and 8, the model is very factual for the Michigan model. It points out the dangers of HIV, STI.
The Michigan model is used in 39 states, including here in Massachusetts. Beninda says the program is used partially in some Worcester schools now, and a universal curriculum in the district would be beneficial.
They use consistent language from grade 4 all the way up to 9 through 12, so students are used to the language. We thought if we had one comprehensive curriculum, that information can be brought through many different ways.
The school committee will decide on Thursday whether to vote at the meeting or take time to review the program. Beninda says if they approve it, the program will go into effect the next week. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
The open-air burning season officially begins today, but the Auburn Fire Department says there are a few things you should know before you start. To burn materials in your yard, you need a permit from your local fire department first. State fire wardens determine each day whether conditions are safe for open burning. Deputy Chief Glenn Johnson says weather and air quality are big factors to determine when it's allowed.
You should always have a hose out near the fire. Never leave the fire unattended. Make sure that you have a rake or a shovel nearby. And if you think at any point the fire is getting out of control, call the local fire department.
And open-air burning runs through May 1st. It is not allowed in 22 cities and towns across the state, including Worcester.